All right. This assignment is going to be focusing on creating a resume. Definitely not going to be a finished product, but it should give you a really good start for whenever you need one. So I want to start off with some tips and just read through them and explain a little bit before we go through a example one, and then I show you the template that I want you to use to create a resume for this assignment. First, a resume should not be any longer than 2 pages, basically 1 page front and back. Any longer than that, and that really just gets to be too much information for the employer that is looking through all those. And some employers just automatically disqualify resumes that are longer than 2 pages. So we want to make sure we can fit it all in 1 page front and back. It's a fine balance between not enough and too much. On the one hand, you want to put as much information as you can on a resume, but you also don't want to make it feel cluttered. And I know that kind of conflicts, like those two messages are complete opposite, but you want to make sure that you're not typing too small that it's hard to read, so you can fit as much info on there as possible. But on the other hand, your goal is to make yourself stand out. You still want to include some important stuff and make you appear like a better option than the rest of the other candidates and the applicants. So include a good amount, but don't include too much. You also don't want your resume to be completely bare either. You should probably lead off with your full name, so first and last, your address, your email address, and then your phone number. You want to include all this information so your employer can contact you in any way possible: mail, email, or calling, texting. After that, you should have an area where you are listing your education and any other certifications that you have. So everyone that's doing this should be able to list graduating from high school. I know we haven't done that yet, but since you will be graduating high school in the spring of 2021, let them know. This is called anticipated graduation. So you'd list Moline High School, that you're going to be a high school graduate, have a high school diploma, and then you would say anticipated graduation, for example, May of 2021. So you don't have it yet, but you should have it soon. Also include anything else that's relevant as far as certification goes. So if you're trying to work like at a daycare and you have a early childhood certification, or you have a CPR certification, you want to list stuff like that too, because that's relevant and it shows that you already have more than some other people that are applying. So that helps you stand out. You want to create a new section that tells them about anything you're involved with at school. In the example, it's just titled involvement. This can be at school or in the community. Employers like to see that people they're going to hire are well-rounded. So they want to see that you're involved in stuff and you didn't just go to school or you didn't just work. They want to see that you've done some other things to give you a diverse amount of experiences, because that's going to help you when you start working. Your work is going to vary. You're going to work with different people. The more situations you've been in, the better equipped you'll be to handle new things. Another section should be any awards or honors you've received, especially ones that you've received recently. But it's also important to it's a good idea to list important recognitions as well. So even if it's a couple years old, if it's something really prestigious, you'd want to include that too. Not just limited to what you've done in school. It could be something you've done in a club or an organization, or any sort of recognition you've gotten from the community as well. After that, you want to make sure that you have a section that shares your work history or your work experience. Some of us don't have any of that, and that's totally okay. Some of us have work experience that's not going to be related to what we are applying for in the future, but do your best in this area. You're going to want to include any sort of job or position you've had, even if it's small, like maybe you just babysit for your neighbors or you mow lawns. That's a start, right? That's something that we've done. It shows that we have a history, and that can be helpful in some instances as well. So any sort of jobs that you've had, So you're going to list where you've worked, the dates that you've had the job. So if you still have it, you would just mark, oh, I started in April of 2018 through present. What the title of your job is. So where you worked, when you worked there, what you did there. And then also list a couple of responsibilities of that job. So for example, if you are a cashier, underneath that, you could say like, oh, well, I checked out groceries at the store. I also helped clean up things in a certain department, and then I would count the money at the end of the night in the cash register. So just a few things that you did to show that you have a couple different experiences with that position. If you have a long job history, that is fantastic. But it might be a challenge to fit everything on there. So you might just want to include some of the things you've done, whether it's the most recent jobs you've had or any jobs that you have had that relate to the job that you're applying for. After that, this is really important. You're going to want to leave a list of references. 3 is usually a pretty good number. I wouldn't do any less than 3. Usually this is the last thing on your resume. And you need to include a few things with your references. So 1, what's the person's first and last name? After that, what's this person's relation to you? So is it like a former boss, current teacher, a club coordinator, coach, whatever however you know them. Their phone number, make sure you put the area code, and then their email address as well. So your work can reach out to them in different ways. This is really important. You need to make sure that you ask each person if you can use them as a reference before you put them on your resume. If they don't know and they get a call from someone, it might catch them off guard, and they might not, even if they think really highly of you, they might not give the best recommendation because they weren't prepared or they were surprised. Or it could upset them that you didn't ask them and you were asking something of them without really giving them a heads up. So they might not give you the best recommendation. So you want to make sure that you ask and they say it's okay. And then as far as references go, the person should be good about answering their messages, whether it's a phone call, a voicemail, an email. So you want to make sure you're picking people that are organized enough to actually be a reference when the employer contacts them. Otherwise, that can be a bad look for you. Like, oh, this person's not responding. They clearly have something to hide. Make sure that your references have appropriate emails. I know that's not necessarily something you can control, but if you have a reference and their email address is, monkeybutt@gmail.com or something ridiculous, that could be a poor reflection on you. So you want to make sure that, do you have a different email address I could use or something like that? Maybe one you have through work or whatever. So make sure their emails are appropriate. Same should go for your email, even if that means creating a new account just for this. Finally, references should not be family members. They should be someone who has seen you work in some capacity, whether it's an employer or a former employer, a coach or a trainer, a teacher or a paraprofessional or a teacher's aide or anything like that, principal, counselor, someone who runs a organization you belong to, something like that. It should not be a family member. Hopefully your family is going to be saying nothing but good things to you, so their reference doesn't really hold too much weight for an employer. You might also consider adding a section for volunteer work if that is a big part of your life as well. That just shows, once again, more experiences. So now let's take a look at our template. This is just one I made for a made-up person. So you have the first and last name, their street address, the phone number, and then a good email address. We have our education header. So we have where we went. So we went to Moline High School, which is in Moline, Illinois. And then what'd you get out of it? Well, I got a high school diploma. And when did you do it? Well, I'm anticipating doing it May of 2021. So you have where was it? Where's it located? What'd you get? When did you do it? And so, for example, this person, they also did something at Blackhawk in Moline. They got a certificate from some training they did, and then they received this on this date. Same here. Oh, well, through the Red Cross in Rock Island, I got a CPR certification, and I received that in February of 2020. So you're going to want education, which is both schooling and certification, training, whatever it may be. Experience, another header. So notice, all right, this is when I did it, April 2018 through now. I worked at Babysitters Inc. in Rock Island. My title was a babysitter. So where, when, what did I do? And then here's some responsibilities I had, so you can get a better idea of what I gained from this experience. Same here. Well, I'm done working at Hy-Vee, but I still did it and it went well. So June 2018, August 2019, this is when I worked at Hy-Vee, which is where I worked at in Milan. The job I had was a cashier, and then these are some of the responsibilities that this person had. Involvement, things that you've done in the community or at school. So this person was in Moline Theater. Okay, they did stage crew for 3 years. So how long did you do it? What were some of the things you did? Lighting and costumes. Involved in 4 different productions. So over 3 years, they did more than one a year. And then, a leadership position. This would be important. That's impressive and puts you apart from the rest of the crowd. Well, I helped the director run auditions. That's showing some leadership. That's showing some valuable skill. I played basketball. All right, I played for 2 seasons. This is how long I did it. I got some more leadership experience. I was a co-captain. Habitat for Humanity. So this isn't involved with school. This is out in the community. Volunteer work. Did 3 builds, so worked on 3 different houses. That looks like I've probably done this a little while. And then I also raised some money for charity. Good job. That's showing that you're dedicated to helping the people in your community. That is always impressive to employers. And then art club. Member, had a leadership position. I was a treasurer, and then I organized something. So I took a big responsibility to do something for this group. Honors and awards. So something connected to the art. I made honor roll on a semester. And then I had something with volunteering. Great. So you got a couple different things. Shows that you're, once again, well-rounded and you have some different experiences and successes. And then our references, the people that you can contact that will vouch for me doing all these things. They can vouch for my work ethic, my skills, my experiences. So you have the person, their name, first and last, and then what's your relation to them? Well, this was the boss at Hy-Vee. Here's their phone number, and here's a work and email. Same thing here. Here's a former teacher that you had at school. Here's their phone number. Here's their email. And then finally, last person here, this person's helping me out at my current job. Those are kind of hit and miss as far as people that are at your current job, because they might be upset that you're leaving. So you kind of got to feel that out a little bit. But if this is someone that's excited to see you move forward, that would be a good choice. Phone and email, name, and then what's their relation to you? How do they know that? How do you know them? What's their job? Why are they important? Okay. So that is a template. You can look at that when you're creating your own if you need to. The attachment will be with everything else for the assignment in Classroom. And then this will be your assignment sheet, your template that you can edit, fill stuff in on your own. I already have like the header stuff up here and then the heading for each subcategory, so you can fill stuff in from there. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's a really good start. You can keep it and then add on to it later on. With it being in Google Docs, it's going to automatically save. And then hopefully we can use that one day to get you something that you're excited about. So if you have questions, let your teacher know. Otherwise, good luck. Try your best and ask any questions that you have, whether it's, does this order look right? Does this format look okay? It doesn't need to necessarily look exactly like our template, but we want it to be organized. We want it to be cohesive. We want it to have the different things stick out so you can get that job that you're shooting for. So good luck and keep it up.